Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, July 25th, 6 p.m. school board meeting to order and ask at this time that you please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. We're going to do roll call.
Christy Chong.
Will Furry present.
Sally Hunt.
Cheryl Massaro.
LaShaka Moore.
I don't believe we have any proclamations, resolutions, or legislative updates. However, we do have a proclamation. So we're going to start at 2.02. And at this time, I'd like to invite Commissioner Andy Dance to the podium, as well as Commander Lutz from the Flagler County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening, Chair, school board members. Also have Pam Blankenship with the River to Sea TPO. They're an integral partner in our local safety endeavors, so they're here as well.
Welcome.
Commander Lutz, thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Again, want to thank the board for bringing forward this safety proclamation. Having it done annually before the start of school is important as we try to put the message out there for our drivers to be aware of our student bicyclists and pedestrians when school starts. So it's just a good proclamation and reminder for the coming year. So I'll start by reading it. It's a resolution of the Flagler County School Board recognizing August 14th through 18th, 2023 as Pedestrian and Cyclist Safety Week. Whereas walking and bicycling to school are viable and environmentally sound forms of transportation, an excellent form of exercise, and provide quality recreation, and whereas a lack of physical activity plays a leading role in rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and other health problems among children, and being able to bicycle or walk to school offers an opportunity to build activity into a daily routine. And whereas driving students to school by private vehicle contributes to traffic congestion and air pollution. And whereas Florida is the second deadliest state in the nation for pedestrians, according to the 2022 Dangerous by Design report from Smart Growth America, and the Daytona Beach Delta Ormond metro area, of which Flagler County is included, earned the unwanted #1 ranking as the deadliest place to walk. And whereas hundreds of children could be saved each year if communities took steps to make pedestrian and bicycle safety a priority. Whereas an important role for parents and legal guardians is to teach children about pedestrian and bicycle safety and become aware of the challenges and dangers that they face on their trip to and from school each day. And whereas Flagler Schools believes that raising awareness of bicyclist and pedestrian safety is vital to ensuring the health and well-being of all students and citizens in Flagler County. And whereas the Community Problem Solvers Group Street Talk is acknowledged as initiating a district-wide focus on pedestrian and cyclist safety and presented the inaugural Pedestrian and Cyclist Safety Proclamation in 2016 and brought safety training into the schools, providing the skills and knowledge necessary to travel safely to and from school, whether it be through walking or cycling. And whereas in an effort to promote public awareness of this important issue, Flagler Schools strongly urges all motorists to be on alert for bicyclists and pedestrians on our roadways, especially when making turns, for all bicyclists and pedestrians to ride or walk safely, courteously, and according to the law, and to do what they can to make themselves more visible to motorists, including wearing bright reflective clothing and using appropriate lights on bicycles when dark. And whereas community-based partnerships are essential to the success of these initiatives and include the following: Florida Department of Transportation's Target Zero initiative that aims to reduce transportation-related serious injuries and deaths across Florida to zero. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office operates a bike safety team, holds bike safety rodeos, initiated Operation Pedestrian Alert to promote pedestrian safety, and uses social media to spread safety messages. The River to Sea Transportation Planning Organization created a bicycle and pedestrian safety program that includes a variety of project planning and safety-related activities to improve bicycling and walking in our communities, provides free bicycle helmets and fittings for children and adults, and offers pedestrian and bicycle safety information on their website. The Community Traffic Safety Teams are locally based, data-driven groups of highway safety advocates that are committed to a common goal of improving traffic safety in their communities. In the past year, our local Flagler CTST brought together city, county, and state officials, as well as government staff and citizens, for pedestrian and bicyclist safety improvement projects. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Flagler County School Board that the first full week of school, August 14th through 18th, 2023, shall be Pedestrian and Cyclist Safety Week in Flagler County, and urges all residents to recognize this important initiative by becoming more aware of cyclists and walkers and take appropriate precautions to ensure the safety of all students using our roadways. Be it further resolved that Flagler Schools encourages all students to become familiar with the benefits offered by the pedestrian and cyclist education programs in our community, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance their individual knowledge and safety, thereby preventing pedestrian and cyclist injuries and deaths. Adopted by the members of the Flagler County School Board, Flagler County, at the regular open public meeting held today. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to present again. Personally, as chairman of the Community Traffic Safety Team, this is an important initiative that I'm glad you keep going on an annual basis, and I'll be back to do this each year to promote safety for our students. So thank you. Did you all want to say anything?
On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we thank you for this proclamation, and the Sheriff's Office, as well as the community, takes pedestrians and cyclists very serious, especially when school's open. So everyone stay safe.
And on behalf of the River to Sea TPO, we want to thank you for continually approving this proclamation, and we look forward to working with our partners in the Sheriff's Office and the community traffic safety teams and getting into the schools and promoting bicyclist and pedestrian safety.
All right, I would like to get a photograph with all of us and the three of you standing in front of us for this proclamation, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I got your chair.
All right, here we go. And 1, 2,
Thank you all for coming tonight. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to move along now. I don't know, Superintendent Moore, do you have any updates on the strategic plan?
Yes, I would like to announce that on August 15th, at our informational meeting, we will be doing an extensive review of our strategic plan and reviewing all of the data elements from the 22-23 school year.
Okay. All right, we're going on to 3.02, which is a spotlight of Flagler County Education Foundation. At this time, I'd like to invite Mary Johnson and Stephanie Ellis to the podium. They're to discuss Stuff Bus program.
Thank you to the board for allowing us to speak on the spotlight. It's near and dear to my heart, the Stuff Bus. I am leading that program as of now, and it's actually an acronym. STUFF stands for Supplying Things You Find Fundamental. We have a Stuff Bus closet at each one of our schools that has a coordinator now leading, and they are receiving a stipend to lead that closet at each school. Lauren Ramey Walsh over at FPC, she is our main coordinator, where Rimfire is our main closet, which thank you to our principal at Rimfire, Mr. Lee, who has allowed us to have a wonderful closet, and the trail students run the program there, and they pack orders, they make sure all the supplies are in stock. We work with community partners getting supplies. Right now we're running I think we have like about 10 supply drives going on right now at different locations. We do drive around our bus and bring it to big locations in order to get the supplies into the bus. There's a depository door on it, so they get to put the supplies right into it so we can do it at any time of the day. I want to thank every single principal allowing us to have a closet at every school. There is a need for all types of school supplies, but the main things that we're always needing are socks, shoes, and underwear. So we are going to continue collecting supplies like that throughout the entire school year to make sure that we have those supplies at all times. Want to add anything, Mary?
Just that, good evening. My name is Mariotti Johnson. I am the Finance and Operations Assistant Director for the Flagler County Education Foundation. And we would like to just ensure that our teachers, our students, and our families not only know that the Stuff Bus Closet is there during the summer to gather those items, but we are there throughout the year to make sure that items are available for our students and our teachers. So if there's a need in the school, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Flagler County Education Foundation to fill that need. I also want to just thank the board for giving us this time on Spotlight to share the good things that the Flagler County Education Foundation is doing in Flagler County schools as your direct support organization.
Thank you both. We couldn't survive without the support of the foundation, and everybody here truly appreciates all that you do for our students. So thank you. All right, we're going to go, the business meeting in the evening is a little different than our workshop meetings. We workshop all of these titles, actually. So it'll go quickly, and it's not that we are trying to go fast, it's just that we know what this is all about. We've already workshopped all the items. So please understand that before we get started. The next is item 4, approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Chong, a second.
Second.
Mr. Furry. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes 401 through 404. Any conversation?
No.
Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Adoption of agenda, 501. Is there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, I would like to ask that we move consent item 11.02 to an action item.
All right. Do I have a consensus with that move?
Well, Chair, you do not need a consensus. If it's being asked to be moved, you just merely move it from consent to action.
Okay.
So it will shift from being 1102 to 1805.
1805, okay, so now it's 1805. That in here. All right, are there any other addition or changes to the agenda?
I do have one. On June 20th, the board adopted the recommended social studies materials that started a 30-day window for anyone in Flagler County to contest the materials. We have not received anyone contesting those materials, so we do not need to have 6.01 and 17.04. Those were placeholders in the event that we did need to hold a hearing for someone contesting the materials. What you previously approved stands.
All right, so we're eliminating 6.01, and we're also eliminating 17.04. Okay. Any others changes, Superintendent? Okay. All right. We are now up to public comment.
At this time, we do have Beverly Kay wanting to speak on Belle Terre Women Racquet Club.
I'd like to thank the board for having me speak tonight. I have a question. There's a rumor at the swim or at the pool of an additional charge being held onto like Silver Sneakers or the insurances for additional money being towards the pool of use for 1 year. Is that true or not? Is that?
We can't answer you, but I'm going to tell you this. We are going to discuss the entire situation later on in this meeting.
Okay.
And that'll give you the answers that you're seeking.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, we also have Judith Baczak, again on Belle Terre Women Racquet Club.
Good evening. I would like to address the fact that there are plans to possibly charge the people separate for the pool versus the gym. This doesn't affect me as much because I am just a gym person, but it does affect most of the people that I know that go to the gym with Silver Sneakers and other insurances. And at the meetings that we agreed to do like an administrative fee back a couple of months ago, we all recognized the fact that the place needs extra money. And I believe the $50 administration fee once a year was a thought that I thought had been the decision. But now I'm noticing that possibly tonight, I know you haven't voted on it yet, they're talking about, for insurance people, paying an extra $250 a year, which I just think for people that don't have pensions or other things supplementing their Social Security, that is a bit outrageous. And I want to speak up for those people. I see there's not going to be a change in the daily fee, so somebody could just show up, not pay a $50 fee, and a yearly fee, and just pay $5 to go. But the people who come all the time, who have been coming there for 10, 20 years plus, they're going to get hit with this fee. And I just think it's hitting the people that have supported the place for all these years the hardest. And I want you to hear that. I realize there's some problems. I also realize that some bookkeeping, that there was an article on Flagler Live about that some of our monies that have been coming in are not being credited to the Belle Terre Women Racquet Club that should have been, which would not have us running so much in the hole. So I really want you to consider this. It's such an important place. And please, when you make this decision, think of the people it will impact, the people who can afford it the least. And thank you for listening. Thank you.
The next speaker is Jack Slavodsky on Belter Swim and Racket Club fees.
Hello. I guess you saw me here. You saw me here too often. I'm supporting her statement about excessive fees for people who cannot afford. We did a lot of legwork to try to bring more members, and I was participating there. We're distributing flyers. We invited people. We had a lot of population now coming to our club, and talking to people when they heard about excessive fees, I heard a lot of people say, we're not going to take this. We're not going to go. So you're going to lose whatever income you have from us, you're going to lose it a lot. So I would $50 administrative fee, I believe is reasonable. And a lot of people will pay that. $21 additional plus my $35 a month, it comes to 56. And why in the world I would like to pay so much money for so little? So I would like to ask you, members of school board, to examine exactly what outcome will be. And like she said, $5 to show up once, that's gonna be. But you're gonna lose everything else. Please do not impose such a large fees. It's not fair. Thank you.
Matt Nealon's, oh, I'm sorry, Matt, don't come forward. Jack Lisenby on Flagler Youth Orchestra.
You'll be next, Matt.
Good evening. I don't have too much to say because I already spoke at the workshop meeting earlier, but I just wanted to say that I'm very happy you chose to support the program and said that on the workshop about 2 weeks ago. But I just want to make sure that I hope that you have everything lined up, because there's a lot of things that were stated that seemed like we just had to be prepared by like the August 30th start date for the program, but there's like auditions and recruiting and emails and instrument rentals and so much stuff that has to be done for the program that I've seen be done in previous years that has to be done before that date. So I hope that the job description comes out soon, or that you have somebody lined up, because there's just so much that needs to be done. And I'm very concerned that even if you pledge support tonight, which you said you would, that things might not get rolling and it might get pushed off to next year, and then it never ends up happening. So I just hope everything's lined up, and maybe I just haven't seen that. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Chair Massaro, that actually concludes the public comments that are related to the business items before the board.
Okay. All right, then we're going on to resources and supports consent. So we will go through these. We have 801, 802, 803, 804, 805, 806, 807, 808, 809, 810, 810 rather, and 811. Is there, first of all, can I have a motion to pass? To motion for this?
Move approval.
Okay, Ms. Chong, and a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Hunt? All right. Is there any conversation about these items, any of these items? We have already workshopped all of them, so it's not new. Anything? Seeing none, then I'm going to call the question. We have a motion by Ms. Chong and a second by Ms. Hunt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? It passes unanimously. All right. We're going down now to 10, academic services. Again, consent. We have 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, and 1006. Again, we've workshopped each one of these individually. I need a motion.
Before did we have the change of the aftercare fees in that?
We're not there yet, I don't.
We're not there yet.
Oh, what is the Flagler, oh, am I ahead of you guys?
Oh, wait, we are there.
No, we are. It is
All
there.
right, let's get a motion, and then we can discuss.
Hold on. So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Furry, are you wanting that moved to action, or are you okay with it remaining on consent? Do you believe that there's additional conversation that needs to be had?
10:03.
We can leave it on consent. I just wanted to make sure the changes from the workshop were added to it before we approve it.
All right, I'm trying to see. Yes, Ms. Kirkland is back there shaking her head, and the answer is yes.
Okay.
So it's $5 each session is what we agreed to, right?
55, right?
Right, but an increase of $5 in each one. Correct.
Okay.
All right, yes. Are we good? So I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
Mr. Ferry,
Second.
Ms. Chung. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Ferry and a second by Ms. Chung to accept 1001 through 1006. All those in favor say aye.
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 And I say yes. So opposed, hearing none, it passes unanimously. Okay. We are now at 11, operational consent. We only have at this point 1101 because 1102 has been moved to 1805. All right, so 1101 is board approval for contracts for a solicitation of presenter. Is there any questions? Let's have a motion.
Move approval.
Ms. Chung, second.
Second.
Mr. Ferry. We have a motion by Ms. Chung, a second by Mr. Ferry to approve 1101. Any conversation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Okay, we are down to 12, Human Resources, Services, and Consent. 1201, I need a motion. Just personnel items.
Motion to approve?
Mr. Ferry, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Chung. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Ferry and a second by Ms. Chung to approve 12.01, which is the approval of personnel items. Do we have any questions? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, aye. All those opposed? There are none, therefore it passes unanimously. We are now at school board attorney consent. We have 1401 and 1402. And we have a motion for both.
Move approval.
Ms. Chong, a second.
Second.
Ms. Hunt. All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve 1401 and 1402. Motion by Ms. Chung, second by Ms. Hunt. Is there any conversation or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, they pass unanimously. Resources and support. Now, now moving into action. Therefore, there will be some conversation on these items. At this time, I'm asking for Mr. Woolahan to come to the side podium because we are going to discuss 15.01, the SRD contract. Mr. Woolahan.
Good evening, Chair, School Board Member, Superintendent Moore. Before you is the clean version of the interlocal agreement between the Flagler County Sheriff's Office and the Flagler County School Board for the 2023-2024 school year. So as presented in the 1 o'clock meeting, we are seeking to take action tonight on this contract.
All right, can I have a motion so we can get into discussion?
Motion to approve?
That's Mr. Furry, and a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Hunt. Now the floor is open for discussion. Anybody have anything to say?
I do.
Then you have the floor, Ms. Hunt. Go ahead.
So something that I previously brought up in the workshop, one of my areas of concern with this contract is really around our budget. And for anybody who's been paying attention to the conversations lately, we've been, as a board, really looking at our reserve budget. our reserve fund. And just a quick backstory, we can't go below 3% of a reserve fund. Think of it as your family's savings account for those unexpected items that come up. And the budget right now that we have planned for has us at a 4.5% reserve fund. And the direction from the board, the previous board, was actually we want to be at a minimum at a 5, but optimally at an 8, so a 5 to 8 range. I bring this up because there's a piece of this contract that I think puts us a little bit at risk. And so, Tommy, if you can clarify if I'm saying this incorrectly. If an SRD calls in sick at any one campus on any given day, Flagler Schools needs to pay for another SRD at 100%. So we're essentially that day paying for 2 SRDs. So if the SRD at Wadsworth calls in sick, we're essentially paying for 2 people at Wadsworth, the person who's at home sick, and then at 100%, their replacement for the day. And I didn't hear you say anything in the contract where there is a cap on that. And so I know this is ridiculous to say, but we could have an SRD who has 3 weeks that they have found that they are sick, and I don't think I have any insight into PTO time or sick leave for the SRDs. I don't know that we are privy to that information. So as a board member, in trying to ensure that we are, I want to use the word safeguard, I don't know if that's right, but to make sure that we are holding on to that reserve fund as much as possible, it concerns me that there are not more details around that piece.
Absolutely, Ms. Hunt. What you're referring to is Article 13 consideration, Roman numeral number 3 on page 8 of the contract. In the event that an SRD is absent from work any length of time and the vacant position cannot be filled by the SRD unit supervisor or section commander, a substitute for the absent SRD will be assigned by the sheriff during regularly scheduled school hours at the deputy's hourly rate. If the vacancy is the result of an operational requirement not related to the SRD function, the sheriff will provide a deputy to fill the vacancy at no cost to the school board. In previous contracts, this was a flat rate that was split between the sheriff and the school board. So moving forward, it will be the district's responsibility, my responsibility, to work side by side with the unit supervisor and the commander to ensure that any vacancy for an SRD for one of our campuses is first filled by the supervisor or the commander, and ensure that the vacancy is not an operational vacancy. Does that answer your question?
So, I mean, I guess my question is, in the spirit of this contract, it's, my understanding is the sheriff's office is taking their overhead for this program, for the SRD program, and we're splitting it 50-50. So I can fully recognize that just like we need substitute teachers, and we never know exactly how many we're going to have any given year, or substitute nurses, I understand that the sheriff's office certainly can't tell us, right, exactly. But I guess I'm not understanding, if we're splitting operational overhead 50-50, why that 50-50 would not be included in that piece as well, at a minimum in this contract.
I understand, Ms. Hunt. What was presented to us by the sheriffs, by Chief Strobridge, is what you see before you. They're just, we will ensure that it is tightened up, and I will follow through on any vacancy. Statutorily, we are required to have a safe school officer. This is our option that we have gone with, and ever since SRDs and have been on our campuses. But we are statutorily required to have a safe school officer on our campus, and we utilize the school resource deputy to fulfill that requirement at this time.
Okay, so forgive me, I've got another follow-up question. So you said there are 2 officers, officer leaders, who are a part of this contract, who they would be the first and second law enforcement officers who would fill in the event an SRD is sick. Can you tell us for like the last school year about how many vacancies there were and how many times they filled those vacancies and how many times we needed to pay additional for those vacancies? So if there were a total of, let's say, oh, I think you understand the question.
No, I understand, Ms. Hunt. Ms. Hunt, what was presented to me, and I receive biweekly timesheets from the sergeant. There were roughly 180 vacancies this school year. That is not, I do not have the number on the operational vacancies or what fell under sick time. There was obviously 2 hurricanes where we do have a school resource deputy that's part of the ERT team that had to go to Lee County, Florida. That's an operational vacancy. But of the 180 vacancies, 24 was filled by the sergeant and 1 was filled by the commander.
So about 100, I'm just going to rough, about 150 times we had to have somebody else other than those 2 fill in.
Correct, but it may have not come at a cost to the school district.
So we could anticipate this year about 150 times, possibly, where we would have to pay almost, really it would be 200%, because we're still paying, well, 150%, because we're paying 50% for the SRD who's out, and then 100% for the SRD who's filling in.
That number is inflated due to the hurricane and with one of the deputies having to report down to Lee County to help out.
Okay, I guess my only ask amongst my fellow board members is just again thinking about our budget. I know I would be more comfortable if this contract had some kind of language around, you know, if this is a partnership and we are essentially sharing an FTE, and we are paying for when there is PTO time being used or sick time being used, is there anywhere in the contract that says officers are given 5 days of, you know, or 20 hours of PTO? Or I feel like this sets us up for some risk, is that in that there's no language around how many sick days or how much that we would be potentially funding.
Understood. They have their own negotiations. They have their own unions that just as we have our own unions for a school district, we have sick days built in through our contracts. They have sick days built in through their contracts. They have vacation days built into their contracts. But moving forward, if I'm understanding correctly, at the next contract, or with the pleasure of the board from this contract moving forward, is that we look to strengthen that language.
Well, you presented this afternoon, right? So we haven't really had a lot of time to
Digest it.
right, to be able to come back and participate in this at all. I guess it just keeps going in my head in terms of someone being on short-term disability or even long-term disability, you know, and we have an SRD at Wadsworth who we're paying for 5 weeks, and we're not getting those services for 5 weeks. We're now paying those services for 5 weeks and then another 100% FTE. So I just don't even know, like, how far does that go?
Right. I will get clarification from Chief Strobridge on what would qualify under that operational vacancy as well. For the past 2 years, there has been an incident where a deputy has been vacant from a campus for an extended period of time. And that should have come at no cost to the school board, whether it was long-term disability or short-term disability or FMLA.
Yeah, and I mean, you've stated clearly the old contract is out. It was a little bit more in our, I don't want to say in our favor, but so I just, because this is new and we're now at that 100% cost, I know, I mean, I'm not in favor of voting on this tonight, but whatever, again, Madam Chair, whatever we need to do to keep things going, I'm obviously going to go with the flow here, but anyway, this is just not certainly in my comfort zone on behalf of the community, but Tommy, thank you.
I would ask that we put Appendix A for transparency on our screens so our public can see exactly what we're talking about. This is what we were presented earlier today with the contract, and it shows the expenses for the program. And it's a significant increase, and everything's increased. We love our SRDs. I don't think anybody up here would say any differently. But one of the biggest changes, and you can see by this, is you have the, it's a 50% share cost, which is beyond wonderful. With the commander, sergeant, we have 10 deputy sheriffs, and that does not include any overtime. But you have $918,000, 948 cents. All right, but you go down, and we also includes our crossing guards, and that's at 100% cost, and we need to have crossing guards. So you have 9 crossing guards that are, their cost is there at $127,337. And without overtime being included, and overtime would be the extra events that are held, like football games and things like that, where you need to have coverage, would add on to that $1,046,000, yes, $285. Okay, now, the big difference is as you move down. The one additional deputy sheriff, by legislation, we were told we need to have a officer full-time at our Rise Up program, and that is the complete cost for that one officer. Now, that is not a salary, please don't get confused, but that includes all equipment that is necessary, too, for that officer. And that's where majority of its salary, plus car, plus computer, plus weapons, plus clothing. So it's not, that's not what one person would be paid, all right? But you can see how that has extended our contract to well over $1 million at this point. Yes, everything's going up, and I understand Ms. Hunt's concern, and hopefully, we can tighten that up in our next contract, because we need to have school resource officers. Our schools count on them, our teachers count on them, our parents count on them, we all count on them. There's no doubt about that.
Chair Mercero, may I?
Yes.
As you mentioned before, the district SRD program at a 50% shared cost does include the sergeant, the commander, and the 10 deputy sheriffs, and at a 50% shared cost. And that shared cost does come from the Board of County Commissions and the county administrator and her team, and we are very appreciative of them contributing those 12 positions to the district. But what you see at the bottom is the one additional deputy sheriff at 100%, and you did mention the statutory or the legislative change to it. I don't think you mentioned where that deputy would be housed and the full responsibility of that deputy, so may I?
Please do. Continue.
So that one additional deputy sheriff will service our alternative program of Rise Up, and Ms. Quinn and her staff. Those are our students that attend our alternative program school. So if they are removed from a school site for a disciplinary reason, through a disciplinary hearing or a ESE manifestation meeting, and it is determined that student is best fits needs for the safety of that child and the child of the home zone school, that student will go to Rise Up. So we felt that in working with the Office of Safe Schools, their recommendation was that we do put a deputy sheriff out at that facility, even though it is co-located on the campus of Flagler Palm Coast High School. Because it is the cost of 100%, to the school board. That deputy will also service our summer school and our summer programs when school is not in session. And that cost is at 100% to the school board for $142,548. And that is the salary, benefits, and operating cost of a sheriff deputy.
Okay, so do we have any more conversation? Go ahead, Ms. Chung.
We have to do this, just to state the obvious. We already voted down the Guardian program, so that's not in the conversation right now, and safety is non-negotiable, so I don't feel like we have a choice tonight. We need to do what we need to do to protect our kids.
Okay, anybody else? Mr. Ferry, do you have anything to add? No, we're good? All right, well, then I'm going to call the question. We have a motion on the floor to accept the presented contract, SRD contract, and that is by Mr. Ferry is the motion, and second by Ms. Hunt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. I thank everybody for the conversation. Thank you, Mr. Wilhanahan. All right, we're going down to 17, academic services. We're going to start with the strings program contracts. Ms. Warmack.
There we go.
There you go.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Moore. I am here to present the strings contract for the 23-24 fiscal year. What you see before you on this board item is asking for the board's permission to budget the strings program at a total cost of $78,880. You can also see in the verbiage on this board item the vacated positions, and then the 3 instructors that have confirmed that they will be returning or have expressed interest that they want to return for the 23-24 fiscal year. Those 3 contracts are on this board item as well for approval along with the budget for the 23-24 school year.
All right, I need a motion so we can have conversation.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Ferry, a second.
Second.
Ms. Chong. All right, we have a motion to approve the presented information with the string program contracts. Conversation.
Patty, I should know this, but what is the account that this comes out of? Is it general?
Yes, it is a general fund. It is actually coded to the Indian Trails Cost Center, as that's where they are located at. It's not a ding, if you will, against the school's budget. It's just where the budget funds are housed at.
Well, and just a quick follow-up question. We just had our budget meeting, the special meeting, and you presented the original budget. And it's my understanding that that budget, we've got some funds that might be different. When will we see the updated budget? I don't know what I can share and what I can't.
No, sure. Just for clarification, the budgeted funds that you see on board docs have been included in the budget that was presented on yesterday. So this budget was in there. And then, as I mentioned at our meeting yesterday, we're still working with our departments and our schools to try to trim more. What we have right now that we can, that we are planning to add onto our transparency page is the budgets as they exist that tie into the budget that was presented yesterday. As we get more updates from the schools, we will present that as one whole package.
Any other comments, questions? All right, then I'm going to call the question. We have a motion by Mr. Ferry and a second by Ms. Chong to approve.
Chair Massaro, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, yes, we have another question.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
trying to not take over everything here. This might be a question for Attorney Gavin. If the board approves tonight to approve the budget, would Superintendent Moore still have within her discretion after she and Ms. Warmack look at the budget with any of our programs? Does she still get to decide what can be funded and what can't and how it's funded? Like, are we just as a board giving our approval for those funds, but ultimately, again, my concern is the reserve funds, I think we all agree the strings are a great program. I just want to make sure we aren't locking Miss Moore, Superintendent Moore, into something when I feel like it's really kind of her and Patty's decision on whether we have the funds available this year for this or not.
So at this point, you would be approving the 3 supplemental contracts that are independent contractor contracts. So you would be saying that you're moving forward with this program. The full $78,000 is the not to exceed amount that the board is being locked into. But as I understand it, that would be to fund 2 additional positions. The director, as well as, I believe it's the person who is another instructor, but also manages the concerts and the music that is being learned by the students. And so.
As well as 2 additional instructors, Ms. Gavin.
And 2 additional instructors. So whether all of those positions are filled, that would still be within the purview of the superintendent. But it would be setting aside those funds and earmarking them that they could be used, but not, and it would never exceed that amount.
And why are we approving this before we even have a job description created?
The job description is for the director of the program. These are the instructors
Oh,
of the
okay.
program.
Okay, so the director job description will come before us also, and we will be approving that at another time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry for the disruption. I
That's
appreciate
okay. All right, so we all set now? Yeah. So, all right, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Ferry, a second by Ms. Chung to approve the presented strings program contracts. We'll now call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, so that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you, Patty. Mr. Houlihan, you're back on stage. 17.02, request approval for the Student Code of Conduct.
Good evening again, Chair, school board members, Superintendent Moore. Before you, you will have the 23-24 Secondary Code of Student Conduct and our elementary Code of Student Conduct. We are seeking approval tonight. There has been a change since our 3 o'clock working agenda meeting, and that did come out of State Board of Education rules hearing. That rule was 6A-10.086, designation of restroom and changing facilities in K-12 education institutions. In that rule, the student code of conduct needs to be updated to follow the rule change. So before you in the student code of conduct, up there? Secondary is fine. On page Page 19. Scroll up a little bit, Mr. Can you refresh, Ron? You might have to refresh your computer. Just the actual page. Yes, correct. There we go. Thank you. Board, if you have your board docs, if
Yeah.
you have your computer open, on page 19, we did add the language into an inappropriate location. The current language does read, "The presence of a student in an unapproved location or during an unapproved time." We've included the language, "This includes any student," and this is straight out of what statutorily has changed, and that language is in green. "This includes any student willfully entering a restroom or changing facility designated for the opposite sex on the school-owned property and refusing to depart when asked to do so by instructional personnel, administrative personnel, or a safe school officer." That language did come straight out of legislation. And the rule change did require your student code of conduct to reflect the legislative changes. Board, we also we received an ask by a board member to look at the parent input when the student code of conduct was advertised. We had 7 parent comments through Let's Talk. 6 of the 7 addressed the dress code, specifically Crocs footwear, and not maybe addressing the dress code. But we did take into account the parent comments.
All right, are there any other questions or concerns at this time?
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, the language, I am more visual than audio. The language that was just added tonight is...
It's on page, can we get that up? It's page 19 in the secondary code. There it is in green. See it
Sorry,
in
Ron.
green?
I was sure. Oh.
Okay, I guess I think I have a question for Superintendent Moore. I'm assuming this is addressing, I don't know, is this addressing the topic of transgender students? Is this, I guess I just have a question, and it's more of an operational, probably it's not it's outside of what we're here for, but is there anything policy-wise that needs to be changed? Does this impact anything that happens in the schools today?
No, our policies align already. This says that students must use the restroom or changing facility of their sex assigned at birth.
That is our current policy?
Yes.
Okay, so this is in alignment already with this policy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I need a motion.
Move approval.
All right, Ms. Chong, and a second.
Second.
Mr. Furry. All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve the student code of conduct as presented by Ms. Chong, and a second by Mr. Furry. Any other further conversation? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you, Board.
All right, thank you, Tommy. 17.03, Miss Brandy Williams and Mr. Reeves. 23-24, School Year Mental Health Plan.
There we go. Good evening, Chair, board members, Superintendent Moore. We're here tonight to present the final information for the mental health plan. We presented a workshop a few weeks ago, and just to give you the final information to kind of go over that for you. So I'm going to turn piece over to Ms. Williams, and I'm going to share some other information about it.
Thank you. So good evening, Madam Chair, Board, and Superintendent. So as we talked about a couple weeks ago, we reviewed the changes, then the updates for the mental health plan that were coming out. They were presented to you, and the new assurances that were requested. We talked a little bit about the ratios. That plan was uploaded for your review, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have for that plan.
All right, I need a motion before we discuss.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Hunt, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Chong. Any conversation? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Board.
All right.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you for your work on that. Going on to 1801. 1801, the City of Palm Coast Master Agreement. Mr. Walker.
Good evening, school board members, Madam Chair, Superintendent Moore. Before you is an interlocal agreement between the City of Palm Coast and the Flagler County School Board to provide for the joint use of certain sites and facilities owned by the city and certain school sites and facilities owned by the district school board in order to provide greater access for the community. This was presented before you at the agenda workshop earlier this month. We also went through the process of bringing this before the City Council for one of their workshops, and it was also approved by the City Council last week at their business meeting. The document in front of you is as it was presented at the agenda meeting, in addition to some added language that the city had asked for in regards to, I believe it was insurance, and then we've cleaned up a few items in regards to coordination of activities.
All right, I need a motion.
Move approval.
Ms. Chong, a second.
Second.
Mr. Furry. Conversation. The only thing that I would like to say is to thank Mr. Walker and Palm Coast for entering this interlocal agreement, because it's what we've been doing for years. It just finally got cleaned up and put into paper, and that's a good thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Chong, a second by Mr. Fury, to pass the Palm Coast Master Agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
18.02, request board approval to award an accompanying contract for invitation to bid on the National School Lunch Program, fresh delivered pizza. Ms. Calera and Ms. Bush. I always like the pizza stories.
Good evening, board members, Chair Massaro, Superintendent Moore. I remembered. Presenting to you is the award and accompanying contract for invitation to bid 23013B National School Lunch Program, fresh delivered pizza. We are looking to award this to Perfect Pizza Pie, also known DBA Domino's. And this is for a 2-year contract with the option to renew for 3 additional 1-year periods.
I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Hunt likes pizza too.
It was really important for me to be the first on the motion.
Yes, it is.
Second.
And a second, Mr. Furry. All right. Any conversation? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving this accompanying contract for the National School Lunch Program, say aye.
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 Opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you both.
Thank you.
18.03, request board approval for award and accompanying contracts for invitation to bid for the general construction services. Presenter Chris Callara and Clint Chin. Well, that's not Clint, but that's all right, Mr. Bush, you're more than welcome.
Thank you. This is for the approval and award of invitation to bid 2314, General Construction Services. We received 10 submissions on this. We are looking to award to all 10 companies, which will provide services as needed. And this is for a 3-year contract through June 30th, 2026.
I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Chong, a second.
Second.
Mr. Furry. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any conversation? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of this awarded accompanying contracts for invitation to bid for general construction services, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 1804. Request board approval for award accompanying contracts for invitation to bid for sign language interpreter services. Ms. Calera and Ms. Halliday.
And this is approval to award bid number 2401. This is looking to seek award to 3 companies for a 2-year term. I'm sorry, a 3-year term with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods.
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, Ms. Hunt, a second.
Second.
Mr. Ferry. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or conversation on this? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving this contract for invitation to bid for sign language interpreter services, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you both. All right, we're going to go to 1805, which was 1102. I'll ask Mr. Walker to come back up and Mr. Freeman. And this is Belterre Swim and Rec Club fee schedule.
Good evening, Board. As we discussed during old business at the 1 p.m. information workshop, there was some new information that came up between the time we last presented this earlier in the month. Following the July 11th agenda workshop regarding the Belterre Swim and Racket Club, our team reached out to the insurance companies to confirm the details in regards to what we were proposing. While we were waiting to hear back from the remainder of those insurance companies, we did hear from Silver Sneakers in regards to being able to charge an administrative annual fee for insurance members. Silver Sneakers informed us we are not able to charge an administrative fee to insurance members. However, they did say that in regards to structuring it as proposed with adding or with charging an add-on for pool and sauna access, we are okay to proceed in that manner. Before you is the revised fee schedule.
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion to approve?
All right, that is Mr. And a second?
Second.
And John. All right, we have a motion, a second, conversation.
Okay, well, we had started this conversation in our workshop, and we were going to continue it here this evening, and we did learn that the annual administrative fee for the insurance members, i.e. Silver Sneakers, would not be possible to do based on our contract. So it sounds like we need to remove that from this price. Has that already been removed?
Correct. As you see here, we have noted where the administrative fee for insurance members is excluded.
Okay, great. And then we were discussing how we were going to apply that to non-insurance members, and I think that's where we left off on the amount, where we might land on that. Chairman Massaro, you had some ideas on that earlier?
Well, first of all, I want to ask Josh, when you spoke to Silver Sneakers, was it verbal or do we have that in writing?
So we had our site manager at the center went ahead and called them, and that's where we received verbal for it. In regards to being able to split off and charge an add-on, we do have that in writing.
Okay, we do have that in writing.
Yes.
That's what's.
We have that in writing from
That's the
30th.
most important piece. I want to make sure we have it in
Correct.
writing, because they could say, anybody could say anything when you call them. I just
Yes.
want to make sure we've got that in writing. That's a good thing. I'm concerned, what I'm concerned about is the group costs increasing so much. From last year, it was $300, and now it's going to jump $170 more. I understand the monthly fee, if you break it down, and Mr. Fury's right, it's reasonable. And, you know, when you look at, what did we talk about, $35 a month? Wasn't that in the ballpark
Was
somewhere
right
in there?
around there.
Yeah, somewhere around in there. I mean, $35 a month, to have a facility that has all those amenities, and we need to extend the operational hours so they can be utilized more, I think that, you know, it's not terrible, but I'm still very concerned about that large increase, considering it is a senior population, many of whom rely on a fixed income. So what would transpire in my mind is that, you're right, they're going to find more economical ways to do that, and that could be as much as, you know, dropping in for a day, which is definitely cheaper. And they could drop in, is there any limit to how many times one person can drop in?
No, we do not have a limit on daily use per month.
Okay,
And
so
then,
I mean,
if I may,
Yes.
Mr. Brun, would you please put us up on slide 5, please? Thank you.
okay. All right, there you go. So we're going from, how many actually registrations, applications, what do we have right now? How many, what do we have? Insurance people, we have annual,
Absolutely. So as far as paying adult members at the center, as of today, we have 162 paying members. Those are through monthly, annual, discounted annuals, discounted monthlies. We also have 29 paying students between monthly and annuals. That gives us a total of 191 paying members. Now, when we look at our total registrations for those that are a part of insurance, our logs currently have that at about 1,100. When we look at those that have actually utilized the facility, when we looked at our data from July 1 of 2022 through December 31st of 2022, we had about 672 unique users from insurance.
As you're looking at that form, though, you go down at the bottom now, that is inaccurate. Where it says insurance monthly, we can't do that, correct?
No, this is accurate. We can charge the monthly add-on fee for gaining access to the pool and sauna.
Okay, so they would be free for the weight room?
Yes, of
Yeah, their
course.
insurance.
Yeah, if we scroll up one more to the fourth one, our basic membership is what would be included for all insurance members through our agreements. That would give them access to the gym and tennis courts. So that would still be at a $0 cost from them to us directly. We've already discussed why the administrative fee we are not able to move forward with. So for those who would like to use the gym and tennis courts, it would remain the same as a $0 charge for them. Now, for our members, our insurance members that would like access to the pool and sauna, that's where we go into on the bottom of the table on slide 5. And that would be the option to either pay $25 a month to get that access or $250 annually. I do want to remind the board that for all of our annual plans, you can pay in quarterly installments.
Quarterly, okay, so that could go down to quarterly. Yes, you can pay quarterly, which is, what, $60 roughly? Insurance, yeah, if you go to the 250, you're looking at a little over $60, $63 a month for 3 months, 3 months rather. 3 months, yeah. Okay, where are we now on the $50 surcharges for registration and, yes?
So a part of this proposed fee schedule is we would look to implement that to our paid members. So whenever they sign up for a new membership, that's when we would do it for our paid members. We would not be able to do it for our insurance members going for the Aquatic Plus.
So the 420 becomes 470.
Correct. Under this proposal, yes.
That's my problem. That's where I think it's a bit much. I don't mind the 420. I think that makes sense. It's that, and I knew we were looking at that $50 to really add to it, but the question is, I think we're already increasing our annual charge so much from where it was. We were at $250, we went to $300 last year, and now we're jumping up to $420. And that's a lot of money, and I'm concerned about my seniors who, are on a fixed income, and they're the ones who I know who need that facility. And I don't want to restrict people because of cost. So, I mean, that is my number one concern. And, yes, we're going to make or break it in this year. We know that. Next August, not this coming, but next August, we'll see where it stands. And it's either going to fly or it's not going to fly. But at least we'll try. I mean, that is the goal. We try. I don't want to price people out to drop memberships. And that's what I'm afraid if we go to 470, we may see that. 420, it hurts, but I can live with it. That's my position.
What is the advertising budget that we put into play? Did we actually put a budget in for advertising?
Yeah, we'll be presenting those numbers in detail at the August 15th information workshop, and that is one of the line items we'll be able to discuss.
Yeah, if there's any way we can cut administrative costs, that would be the best way to go, where we're cutting the monies that we need, which would help keep the prices down.
So something that we talked about in the workshop, because there is a cost to the schools, there is an administrative cost to when somebody comes in, we are paying for a person who we would otherwise not have, right? Because this is all about the incremental cost. We need the pool for our school, right? So it's all about what is incremental that we would not have to pay if we did not have this program. So the administrative cost if someone comes in, someone has to be there, they're helping them with paperwork, they're then possibly processing paperwork, we then have to go to the insurance company to get, reimbursed. So, one of the things I brought up, because I'm trying to really put some real numbers to this, if our minimum pay now is $15 an hour plus potentially benefits. Is it, do you think a $25 would at least cover our cost of that administrative piece for a new member?
So something you had brought up in our earlier workshop today was kind of what is the time involved with processing a new member, whether it be insurance and or paid. And usually we're looking at about 15 to 30 minutes per person. Now, everyone is a little bit different. Some people need more time, and we're happy to provide that. So with that being said, I mean, $15 an hour, like we had discussed, divide 15 by half, we're kind of sitting right there in that 15 to 20 range, if we were looking at the total cost involved by a staff member.
You also mentioned they sometimes do a tour. So
Correct.
I think, I want to make sure we're not underestimating the true, also going, like I said, to the insurance company, someone, even if it's not that initial person, someone from the district is having to do all of that relationship with the insurance. So I don't know if I don't know if that makes you feel any better, Madam Chair, if at 25, I still believe that the cost is covering the cost of operations, right? So to me, this is really covering us on the administrative end of things.
Well, anything that lowers that $470 fee would definitely be better to me.
Well,
Seriously.
It sounds like a nickel and dime up here, but when we have as much loss annually with this pool, every penny counts, right? and if our goal, the board's will is to keep the pool open. That's what our last vote was. So now we're working out the economics of it, and every dollar that that we don't bring in goes against. Or will either increase or maintain the current loss that we have. So our goal right now is to try and fill that gap of loss. And so one relief has already been added, which is that the insurance members will not pay the $50 any at all. So it'll just be a straight 25, or if you pay annually, $20.83 per month for the pool. And if you just choose to use the gym, you pay nothing. But to Ms. Hunt's point, if we were kind of breaking it down to, 15 minutes registration to 30 minutes and a tour, and we're looking at just saying, hey, can we somehow break even on this administrative cost, right? I think that could be a fair compromise. And just what we've just kind of rough numbered out here, I think I could be comfortable at a $25 administration fee for this first
You're right.
year.
I understand the need to get everybody to pay something extra. And it really is for administrative fees, because we've been just doing it gratis for so long. And I mean, I'll have to live with the $25 fee. I think that's certainly better than the $50 fee, so we got that somewhere trimmed back. And I think this is just going to remain to see what happens. I'm hoping that we're not pricing our seniors out and the people that really need it. That's my fear. But again, it is a good product. I agree with what you said. You can't get anything like that here in Flagler County. You just can't. There's tons of memberships to pick from. I mean, we went from, how many memberships do we have now? I mean, there's 15 here, 15 different memberships.
Yeah. So currently, we just have monthly, annual, seasonal, and then we have various ones for employee and military discount.
Yeah.
And student as well. So by going in this direction, we're able to offer more opportunities to the community, especially families. That was one thing when we got out in the community and had our community events that we heard was a huge need. It was being able to bring the whole family for a one price.
Yeah, and I think those seasonal, especially this summer season, that pool's very popular because it's very hot, and not everybody has pools in their backyards.
And
essentially,
what we have here actually is like 4 options, really, with discounts built within and ways to save within the 4, right? because it's been put out there that we put together a matrix of 15 different memberships. It's really 4 memberships, but then opportunities to have savings within them. Am I correct?
Correct. And then for the information for the board, moving forward in this direction with board approval, we would be looking at implementing any changes that affect paid memberships as of September 1. Anything that would affect an insurance member would be implemented November 1st. And the reason for that is we do require to give additional notice to our insurance members.
One more thing, Josh, would you explain the new, because I know everybody's calculators up here are working, and they're saying, that's okay, I'm just going to go into the gym and I'll sneak over to use the sauna and this pool. Can you explain what's happening there?
So moving in this direction, we looked at our site to see how we could implement such a plan by splitting up our memberships in a way that would make sense for everyone, as well as our staff, to make sure that we are holding everyone accountable as they utilize our facility. Currently, if you enter through our gym and you exit out the side door, you can walk right up to the sauna around the back, or you could go through that gate that leads you to the pool. And one of the comments that we've gotten was, well, if you separate those out, how would you keep certain individuals from paying for the gym only and then accessing the pool? So we are going to be putting in additional fencing along the sauna to where that area is enclosed, so that way the only entrance to the pool would be through the front of the office area where you have the check-in desk. Or if you exit the gym, you would just have to have a staff member with you to unlock the gate, at which point they would verify your membership. We are in the process of moving to a new system where we're going away from the cards, the key cards, and going to a key fob system. And that way, depending on your membership type, it would be black for basic or blue for the aquatic plus. That way it'd be very easy to just immediately verify your membership type, and it would allow our staff the ability to efficiently monitor the facility.
Okay. All right, any other conversation?
Well, I just was, and this is nothing really, I think, for tonight, but something that came up during the workshop, and I think, Josh, you were there, when we talked about extended day, we talked about these larger credit card fees. How can participants pay today? Do we accept?
Correct. So yes, so that's a great point. We do accept credit card, check, cash for all of these. We touched on it in a previous board workshop. We would be looking to, with this, if you do pay with a credit card or a debit card, whatever credit card fee we incur as the operator, we will be passing that on to the member or the user. Now, currently, we're in the same boat as FTC when it comes to their rates going up. I mentioned earlier about going forward to Gym Master. By moving forward with them, we're able to at least price haggle or so between a few different vendors when it comes to getting the best price for credit card transactions. But we will still be able to pay with cash, check, money order, etc. So to be clear, credit and debit cards, we will be passing forward that service charge to our guests.
And I assume that language is going, before someone's credit card is charged, I assume that language will be.
Correct. We'll make sure with any passage with this, we'll make sure when we put our information out to our members in the community that that is clearly identified with anything that is new and updated.
All right, is there any other conversation?
I just have one more thing to ask.
Go ahead.
Actually, Dr. Doug Courtney, he is on the advisory committee.
He's the head of the advisory group.
Right,
yes.
right. Okay, so I have to say that I have to take some great exception with Dr. Courtney's way that he's tried to communicate his wants in this negotiation. He has emailed out to all the members mistruths, personally attacking me and making it seem as if I was some sort of a bully demanding that these things be done. And if anybody's watched the workshops from day one, you can see that we have collaboratively worked through this. And I don't appreciate somebody that we are working with to advise to personally attack a board member unfairly, quite frankly, and also take that message to a local blogger to put out there and disseminate as well, making the situation seem much worse than it really was. And so I would ask in the future that we have a conversation. Our board meetings are open always to the public, and the advisory committee has even more availability just because we're seeking their direct input. But that's not the way to go about to get what you want, whether it's me or any other board member. So I'd ask in the future that that board refrain from these kind of tactics.
Can I add to that? Because it's something, actually, it was a question that I had earlier, and now I definitely want to bring it up. And it seems silly to bring it up, but do we have policy around, the word discipline keeps coming to my mind. Do we have policy at the Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club for disturbances, for, this has been a heated issue. And my concern is when this is implemented, will we have members who refuse to not be able to use the pool? I don't know if the board does anybody in the room know, do we have policy related to Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club around, because this is not the business we're in, around expectations on behavior? You lose your membership if you are found to be troublesome? I think you guys know what I'm asking.
So as far as that goes, I mean, we have our standard rules that are placed around our center as far as, typical pool rules and things like that. But what I'm gathering is possibly almost a member code of conduct or a member handbook that we should be following. At this time, it's not under my understanding that we have something like that in place, although that is something we can definitely work on.
If we do not, it would be my recommendation that we would create that, and that if any of those pieces are broken, that someone would then lose their membership. Anyway.
Ms. Hunt, the only types of protocols that we have in place would be those that are attached to our use of facilities, that is contained with how anyone who uses a facility of the district, the expectations of how they are to behave.
So that exists. Awesome.
And so we do have that, which specifically addresses behaviors.
Okay, are we able to review that to make sure, because the spirit of that, someone using our gym for whatever, that, I don't think this is a concern for that. So I would want to make sure that we are now encompassing this kind of new situation in that, but I think that definitely works.
It would be a help and a good place to.
And I would just want to be crystal clear, something that we have, I'm going to use the word threatened a bit, but something that has been emailed to us is, be prepared for fines. And I just want to be as proactive as possible. I hope we don't have to deal with a situation like that. But if we do have a member who we have deemed is not welcome anymore on property, do we, does that mess with our contract? Like, what rights do we have? I think, Attorney Gavin, that's really ultimately what I'm looking at. What rights do we have to not allow abuse or misconduct on one of our properties?
So we will take a look at what we have in our use of facility policy and see whether that needs to be tweaked and adjusted. And then those expectations would be posted throughout Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club.
Okay, and just follow-up question. When somebody uses one of our facilities, are they, I cruise a lot. I'm given a cruise contract. Do we give them that paperwork?
So when they sign up for using our facilities, yes, that documentation is provided to them. And so that's why I'm saying when somebody becomes a new member of the facility, that expectation and how behaviors are expected when you're using any of our district facilities could be passed along to any of those members. And we have, in the past, when someone has violated our use of facilities, we have prohibited them from ever being a user of our facility again. That is one way that
Do they have to sign anything?
They haven't signed anything, but they were notified of it. And then if they were to violate it, then they would be treated just like any other individual. When they have been given a warning, they may be trespassed from facilities.
Okay, so this is a piece that, in my opinion, can't be squishy, just because there's a lot with this. So my ask, and I'm one board member, but I would ask that we think about including that with when we implement all of this? Do all current members and then all new members need to sign off that they have reviewed that? I just want to make sure that we are protected with that. And to me, it's just not enough to post it around. I would want to ensure that we have placed that in front of the members.
Yes, Ms. Hunt, the School Board Policy 320 also has some guidelines that are reflected. What we have in use of facilities, we extracted that out of School Board Policy 320. So that tells you basically how you can act and what you can and can't do.
Which
Use of facilities will come before you in August as well.
Okay, I just, it doesn't, if it's not presented to the member, so anyway, awesome. I appreciate you guys looking to see if it still is relevant to Belle Terre Swim Racquet Club. I just would also ask that it is presented to members and we have proof that it has been presented.
I'll just, to add to this, I want to back Will up on what he said. I don't know why he's become the target here. I guess one of us always has to be the villain at some point. But we are coming to the table. We are trying to make this work for the coming year and see where it goes. So we just ask that you would work with us, respect that. If things do become hostile, we can always revisit this vote. So, but we are trying. So yeah, don't believe everything that's out there.
No, and before we vote, I will also comment to the fact that, believe it or not, we are all trying to figure out how to save and keep this pool going. We all are. We're not against, not us versus you and back and forth. We are trying to come up with a solution that can keep the pool going, keep it growing, and not worry about it again. I mean, we've been spending a great deal of time on this, and we would like to get it resolved. And hopefully, what we're doing is going to work. That's our goal, to make this work so that next year we're here saying we're so happy the pool is doing so well. That is our goal. And there's no one person to really be responsible at this point. We're in it as a team trying to get this right, because it hasn't been right and it's been killing the district. So let's get it there the best we can. Okay. All right. Any other comments?
Board, before you take your motion, I do need the motion to be restated because previously the motion and second was based upon the fee schedule as presented, and it's my understanding that you are changing from what the fee schedule presented to a different fee schedule, which is not to have that additional $50 administrative fee, but rather the administrative fee would be a $25 fee. So I do need to have a retraction of the prior motion and a newly stated motion.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferry, you made that motion, so can you retract the original motion?
Yes, I will retract the original motion
Okay.
to approve.
And Ms. Chong, you're the second, you need to approve removing the original motion.
So
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, so now he's going to, right, so now that's been removed, we need a new motion. Go ahead.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club proposed fee schedule with a change to the annual administration fee for non-insurance members to be reduced to $25 from $50.
Okay, and I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so we have a new motion then from Mr. Furry and a second from Ms. Chong. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously. Okey dokey, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Board.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on then to 19, Human Resources, 1901, Flagler Technical College, reorganization, job descriptions. Ms. O'Brien, nope, Mr. Ouellette, and Ms. Kirkland.
Good evening, Chair Massaro, board members, and Superintendent Moore. We are here to continue the process of completing some of the reorganizations and salary metric changes that have taken place that have affected Flagler Technical College, and specifically some of the reorganization of the job functions and the salary lanes.
All right, I need a motion so we can go into discussion if anybody has any. Motion?
Move approval.
All right, Ms. Chong, second.
Second.
Mr. Ferry. All right, we have a motion from Ms. Chong, a second from Mr. Ferry. Are there any conversation about the numerous job descriptions that are being revised? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Okay. 1902, the Third Amendment to Advent Health Clinic Agreement for Employees. Ms. Gavin.
Chair Massaro, you have before you a third amendment to the Advent Health Clinic Agreement that we have in existence. That contract is due to expire, unfortunately, August 31st, 2023. We are currently in the process of doing an RFP for a clinic to be provided, whether it's going to be in-house or an outside, like we currently have, provider. Those will be the options that are available under that RFP. In the interim, while we are under that RFP and acquiring potential companies, including Advent Health, to bid on our clinic, we have requested, and Advent Health has graciously agreed to extend the current contract for a 6-month period during this process. And so it is to continue with the clinic under the current terms and conditions, which is that we pay $22,000 a month for the clinic services.
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Ms. Hunt, a second.
Second.
Mr. Ferry. Conversation, questions? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the Third Amendment to Advent Health Clinic Agreement for employees, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. All right. Going down to old business. Old business. Anybody have old business they'd like to discuss?
I just have a couple quick
Ms. Hunt,
things.
go ahead.
I just want to make sure I'm circling back. A while back, I brought up us taking a look at, I think, St. Johns County and how they do their alternative education model, where one is like ESE, behavioral, and the other is more of a kind of a consequence. Superintendent Moore, I know I'm not saying this right, but I just want to keep that fresh with the board. Obviously, we're not going to get anything done in 2 weeks for this school year, but there's quite a bit of lead time involved with that, and I think that that is something as a board needs to be prioritized, that we look at how we might need to enhance alternative education here in Flagler County. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring up. The other thing that I wanted to ask, for the superintendent search, for the advisory council, and I could have brought this up at the workshop, so forgive me. If you guys can give me some clarity, because my understanding is we each are to come to the table with 3 names. But we also had conversation around making sure we had good representation from different groups. So that kind of, then I wondered, are we going to coordinate? So I just wanted, because as we have people reach out to us who are offering to be a part of that, I just wanted a little bit of a better clarity of what you guys, what really the plan is for the advisory council.
Well, I'll start. I believe that there are 5 places on there that we have to agree that be representation, like example, the Auditorium and Governance Board. That would be one. Somebody need to pick a selective person. And there were other people that passed that have done certain services that, need to be part of that. So as a group, we should be able to determine that that's coming. As far as your individual nominations, I think it's got to be people that you trust, because they're the ones that are going to be going through and giving you those, those nominations, and they're going to work as a group to be able to come up with the list that'll be submitted to us to start to finalize, because they're doing the paperwork, is what they're doing. And they also can do searches, so they can check social media, whatever, and find out anything. But it's got to be 3 people that you think meet different, I would think, different needs. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your district, but people that you know that could work, that aren't employed by the district, but have valued interest. At least that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so we're not coordinating amongst
No,
ourselves.
no.
We are each coming to the table with
You might
our
want to have more
3.
than, you might want to have more than 3
Yeah,
in the
ready to
event.
go.
Mr. Ferry says, puts one out there, go, oh, that was one of mine, But you got to talk to these people, and you've got to let them know what the responsibility is, because it's going to be 2 meetings in September, and then you're going to have to obtain their emails and their phone numbers, so that when you give a person, you have that information to give to FSBA, because then they're going to loop them in to the system, and they'll contact them about, what their responsibilities are and when the meetings are, and they'll keep them in the loop. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm planning to do. I've got 3 that I want, but maybe somebody will take one, so I'm making sure I have a couple backups just in case.
But just
Mr.
to
Ferry.
back up on the meetings, so the way I understand it is that they're going to be receiving the resumes as they come in.
Correct.
Being able to review, like you said, online searches,
Mm-hmm.
check their background, and then they'll make recommendations. They'll go through them. And then you said there were some meetings.
There's 2 meetings in September. If you look at your timeline.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Yeah, they're like a week apart at 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
So.
Like the 18th and 26th
Yeah,
or
something like that, yeah. But check it out in your timeline, and they have to be available to attend those meetings, or they're not going to do any good. Because at those meetings, that's when they're going to have conversations with the other citizens that are involved to get down to their pecking order. That's how it works.
Very good.
Okay? Does that help?
But we first have a draft,
Yeah, we do.
Citizens Advisory draft.
We do.
I'll bring pretzels. Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else under that? All right, we're going to go to new business. Is there any new business? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Public comment. Do we have public comment? Okay.
Matt Nellens regarding various agenda items. Is he still here?
No.
No. Okay, then the next person is Richard Fay regarding books.
Yep, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to acknowledge that we're meeting on traditional territory of the Seminole, Timucua, Muscogee, and Muskego tribal nations. I came here, I guess I really need to go to the workshop. I think this discussion was probably held. I was kind of concerned about the legislation coming down around how we're going to teach history in our school system, in the textbooks. So I'm not going to do that here. This is you're making decisions here. You're coming to conclusions. So I understand that now. But just in regards to 2 issues from a humanistic point of view, in regards to, again, legislatively it's assigned, in regards to sex assignment at birth, sometimes there are instances where there is surgical sex assignment because individuals are born with both male and female genitalia, a decision's made, and then it's not until a later stage of development where one becomes aware what their identity is in that area. So I just want to say humanistically to figure out how you may need to deal with a situation like that in the future. And then in regards to the plan for mental health, that the board have folks think about infant early child mental health consultation as a model to be used in the VPK area, as it's really meant to design to intervene very early with children that are showing problems. I don't see it listed, and it's a specific way of working in relationship with the child, with the parent, with the teacher, in figuring out ways to address the relational problems that are going on for that child in that classroom, which could be as a result of something with the child, something with the teacher, something with the parent, or something with all 3. So it's really important that you think about how are we addressing the social emotional needs of our young children? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next.
The next public comment is Jack Slavutsky regarding fees.
By reviewing your proposal, or accepted proposal, whatever it is, you're penalizing personally me and 660 members who are insured. Let's say I'm there 11 times, which is the insurance pays for that $3. Multiply by 11, multiply by 12, plus $21 multiplied by 12. I'll be paying $648. Why do you penalize me for that? It's instead of $420, I have to pay $228 more. Why? I'm such a famous person? Why? Why are you doing that? Explain to me. How in the world I have to pay $200 more than a regular member? Why?
Who's next?
That concludes public comment.
Oh, wait, no, there's one more. You, come on up. Come on up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you sign in?
It's okay.
A second time, though. Oh,
Yeah,
it
come on
didn't
up.
show up, but go ahead.
Come on up.
I'm not going to yell.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment, I'm sorry if anybody over this time has ever felt intimidated by anybody. People just get emotional. And I did want to mention, I have never received anything about rules and regulations at the place, so it's not a bad idea to have that, maybe a little card or a little pamphlet to give out. But we've never had that. And lastly, in those charges, I think you're going to have some people playing games. You know, if I'm an honest person, but say I wasn't an honest person, I might say I'm a single parent and get the $200 cheaper fee because it's just me and my kids going versus a family plan. So, you know, I don't know who's going to be the police of all those little nuances of what people may or may not try to do under this new plan. I never had children, so I am a single person going to the gym. But I just wanted to throw that out as a possible problem. Who has to enforce these things might be a problem for the staff there. I'm not saying it will be, but, you know, most of the people I have ever met there have been nothing but pleasant. That's why I love the place. And I am sorry if anybody is troubled by people getting emotional here, but I don't really think there's anything meant to be super aggressive about it. You just have to understand, sometimes old folk in particular do get very emotional when it comes to their finances and stuff. And I want to thank you for listening to everything. And I know it's a long day for you, so I'm going to shut up now.
Thank you. Who's next? Anybody? That's it? That's it? Okay. We're going on to closing comments. Ms. Chong.
Great. Well, I can't believe summer is winding down and we'll be starting a new school year soon. And I'm excited. I hope everybody else is. I always really love to go to the school the first week and walk the halls with my kids and be able to meet the teachers. And it's just, it's exciting, and to see all our friends as everybody's getting older. So I'm excited for that. And this year it'll be more exciting because we'll get to see more schools. So that's cool. And I hope everybody just enjoys the rest of the summer, that you get out and enjoy our beautiful state, go to the beach, go to the springs, and spend time with your family. So we'll see y'all August 10th.
Yes, I'm excited for the first day of school to start, and I just hope everybody uses up these last few days of summer break to really enjoy it. And just want to thank the Ed Foundation for being here tonight and sharing with us, and for all that they do. Also, the Board of County Commissioners, just want to, once again, I really appreciate the partnership we have with our school resource deputies, and also with the Sheriff's Office as well. That partnership is so valuable to keep our schools safe, and I'm just thankful that the the citizens of Flagler County are investing in the safety of our students here. And I also just wanted to just touch a little bit on what the last commenter said, and I want them to know that we appreciate the public comment. We're never offended by someone's passion for wanting to direct us in a way that can benefit them or others in the community. But just bring your facts, bring your truths, right? Bring your best, right? And we do listen. We do respond, maybe not in comment right away, but we do respond when we workshop these things and when we make our vote. And you do make an impact. And I just want everybody in the community to always know that we will always allow them to be heard. On a real positive note too, I was honored to celebrate the groundbreaking of our new addition at Matanzas High School, along with Superintendent Moore and Chair Massaro. And I know the rest of the board was with us in spirit that day. And we had many other dignitaries from our community there to celebrate as well. And it's very exciting to see us break ground and hopefully have this done by 2025. And once again, I just want to thank our staff for all their hard work. We went through, this has been a real busy month. And I know everyone's been burning the midnight oil, so truly grateful for that, and have a blessed evening.
I just would like to echo that I'm really looking forward to the start of the school year. Superintendent Moore, I think a lot of your leadership, and I'm excited to see you leading us into the first semester. I feel the need, I guess, just to clarify, I'm a huge advocate for law enforcement and think the world of our SRD program. I, the other day, had an amazing conversation with Sheriff Staley, and I appreciate him for everything he does for the county. So I just want to clarify, Flagler Schools is an organization. We have a certain amount of money that comes in, we have expenses, and so when I bring things like this up, it is on behalf of the running of the organization, whether it's SRDs or anything else that's a part of this great district. I will say, in partnership, it was really challenging that we were presented with a $1 million+ contract hours before we then had to vote on it, days before the school year started. So I think I just want to clarify, I can have great respect for Sheriff Staley, I can have great respect for law enforcement, and also feel like, as a board member, really uncomfortable with how this was handled as partners with the sheriff's office as a board member. So I wish everybody a great night, and I appreciate my fellow board members for a great conversation throughout today.
2 weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago, but I had the distinct pleasure of sharing 2 full days with 35 of our wonderful staff, capturing kids' hearts. It is one of the most delightful experiences I've had as an educator in my career, which is pretty long and pretty extensive. Last year, 2 years ago, we actually adopted that as a school board and invested quite a bit of money, and it's a 2-day training, and the whole idea is to teach people how to build better relationships. And when you can do that with your class and your students and your children, things go much better in your life. It's as simple as that. And the trainer was exceptional. And I know that our staff was just delighted by all just to have me there. And I was learning just as much as they were learning. So, I look forward to continuing to develop those skills, because I still can learn. We all can. Every day we can learn new things. And I would incorporate in the future trainings that perhaps our new school board members, because I'm not new, but I finally got to go to the training. You take up advantage of that training. It's just spectacular. Okay. About Belle Terre Swim and Racket Club. Dr. Courtney is very bright. He's a very bright gentleman, and I've had the pleasure to get to know him better. And, you know, he struggles daily because he has a responsibility of taking care of an ill wife, and he can't be everywhere all the time. And if he could, I'm sure he would have been here supporting his position. He's not the kind of person that's vindictive, and he's not angry, and he's very bright, and he really works through things systematically. I don't think he had any intentions of hurting anybody directly or personally. However, there are individuals within his group that aren't so nice. And I know we're familiar with that all too often because we hear from them all the time too. And he tries to tap them down, at least with every meeting that I've been in with that group. I know who they are, they know who they are, and they're fired up because they're passionate. Just like our speaker said, they care, and they're just trying to keep things level and even for everybody so they can still use the pool, still benefit from it. I don't think our decision tonight is going to close the door. I think that we've come down to some kind of practicality to try to save the place. That's our goal. Let's make this work. So I hope those of the people on the advisory council can understand that. If you want to be in the gym and you have insurance, you're still in the gym with insurance and it's not going to cost you much. If you want to use the pool and the sauna, yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit, but not much. And you've all been willing to pay. So hopefully we can make this a profitable experience and work together and continue to grow Belle Terre Swim and Racket Club. New school year, new rules. The legislation has come down with tons of rules, but I think one that we're all going to be really paying close attention to is cell phones. Parents, guardians, listen carefully. Once your student walks into that classroom, that cell phone has to go off and it cannot come back out again until you leave that classroom. That is the law. And unfortunately, we're going to have to enforce that. So no more texting home and calling here or whatever it may be. That phone's in your pocket. Some teachers may have a certain place for you to place that phone, and you're going to be needing to do that. So just know that is a big change from past years. So cell phones, it's going to be a great school year. I can't wait. This is going to add a little more excitement to it, especially at the beginning of the school year. Our poor deans, all right, but I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing our staff back in action, our students ready to rock and roll, and make 23-24 a spectacular one for all of us. So thank you all for being here this evening. Miss Moore, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do. I'm just bursting at the seams right now. This is my favorite time of the year. And every chance, I don't care if I'm in Publix or, in my neighborhood, when I see students, I'm like, guess what? Summer's almost over. But I agree. Enjoy the last few weeks of summer. We have been busy preparing for the return of our faculty and our staff and our students. I want to take an opportunity to thank the commenter today for this evening meeting as well as this afternoon around Flagler Youth Orchestra. We do understand the urgency that we are under at this point. I do thank the board for supporting the program, and we will continue to move forward to get that started for this school year. Education Foundation, thank you so much. They are busy in the community all year long, but we appreciate everything that you're doing around supply drives here in our community. As a previous principal, I know directly the impact that those resources being available on our campuses, that we do not have to go and look for, how important that is. So we do thank you for all of the hard work that you've put forward with that Stuff the Bus project. Back to School Jam is coming up. It's on August 5th. It's from 10 to 1 at Flagler Palm Coast High School. Cannot wait to see all of our families there. We will continue to push out video messages to our families as we prepare for the start of the school year. One of our messages will be around our code of conduct and all that our families need to anticipate as we go into the school year. We know that our families are asking, where are schedules? Who's my child's teacher? We ask that you please go to the school's website. They have information there that will let them know when they can expect that information. I want to take a moment to say I'm so excited that Ms. Neuenfeld is going to be joining the Wadsworth team as the principal. I have watched her and worked alongside of her over the years, and she is going to be a phenomenal principal. I'm not going to say phenomenal leader because she's already been leading in this district, and I cannot wait to see all of the great things that you do at Wadsworth Elementary School. So thank you and welcome, and I'm sure you are busy moving forward. And then we are excited to welcome our students back, but we also want to extend a great welcome to our private school as well as our charter schools. We wish those students the best of luck in this school year as well. And I cannot wait to see our teachers on August 2nd. I can't wait to see the community on August 5th. And I cannot wait to see our students on August 10th. So have a great night and welcome to the best time of the year. It's pretty much the best time of the year anytime our students are in school.
All right, with that being said, I'm going to officially adjourn this meeting and wish you all a wonderful end of summer.